Good evening, church. My name is Donovan Daniel, and I'm one of the teaching elders at Word of Grace Fellowship. And I want to welcome you to Life Groups. This particular teaching video is in regards to our recent series, Confirmed, which happened on April 7th, 14th, and 21st. If you missed any of those messages, I highly encourage you to go back and watch them so that you might have greater context for what is being discussed tonight and what you can continue to be reviewing for your own personal benefit. During the Confirmed series, we focused on how God is regularly confirming his intentions and his love for us. He demonstrates that in a multitude of ways, but I focused during the series on 3 accounts that were after his resurrection and just before his ascension. Jesus spends time with 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus, with Mary Magdalene in a garden just outside of the tomb, and with Thomas, better known as Doubting Thomas. This video is going to focus a bit more on the 3rd installment of that series. During the series, I focused on, again, Doubting Thomas, which we went into great detail, focusing on the fact that he was not doubting at all, but rather unbelieving. Now, before we get too hard or go too hard on Thomas, we have to remember that all of us had a moment in our life, maybe briefer than others, where we ourselves were unbelieving. In Romans 5, we focus on how Christ died for the ungodly and the sinner and the enemy of God. And this describes every single one of the people watching this video. No matter how holy you may think you are, you spent time at some point in your life being an enemy of the Most High. But the Father is faithful because he proves his love for us in that he sent his only begotten Son, that he might die after living a perfect and blameless life, and that he might rise having victory over both sin and death, and that his death might be the propitiation for the life that I lived that was raggedy and sinful. I'm so grateful, and you should be also, that God has rescued us from our ungodly, sinful, and enemy-like behavior and lifestyle. So I want you to spend some time actually focusing on that. Not so much how bad you are, but where and how Christ met you. When we talk about John 3:16 and how he so loved the world, it's cool talking about it in theory and talking about it as far as the whole church is concerned or the whole body is concerned. But I want to focus on how he met you, how he showed his great love for you. So where did he meet you? During that 3rd installment of the series, we had a few people that were kind enough to share their testimony of salvation. Now you have an opportunity to share yours. With the group, talk about where God found you and how he demonstrated his love, how he confirmed his promise of redemption in Scripture to you. I think we'll be encouraged when we think about how God met us and where God met us, and recognizing that he's still meeting people in those places today. He is still showing his love. Take some time to discuss it, and we'll be right back. Now, for our second discussion point, again, we focused on the fact that Thomas was not doubting, but unbelieving. But what happens when we are experiencing actual doubt, not unbelief? Where we've already committed our lives to Christ, but there's a circumstance or a situation that causes our faith to get rattled, that causes us to be shaky. In those moments, it is normal, natural even, for us to have doubts. But we're to combat those doubts. And we're to meet with God about those doubts. So I want you to talk about times when you have experienced doubt and how God has confirmed his faithfulness in those moments. This is a little bit different than the first question or the first talking point, in that initially we were talking about how God met us when we were unbelievers. But now I want you to talk about how God met you in your doubt. Our God is faithful, and he will not let his people wander off without meeting with them. He's always going after the one and leaving the 99. So talk about how he's met you in your doubt and how he has put you on a firm ground after experiencing that. My hope is that reflecting on how he saved you and how he's rescued you from doubt might encourage others in the group. So don't be afraid to be honest. Always confirm what you're sharing with scripture, and make sure that we're giving grace for those who maybe don't have as many stories to tell, but really have something to offer. Make sure we're encouraging them to do it and not dominating the time with our super saints. We want to make sure that everyone is being able to contribute to the conversation. So grateful that you're showing up for life groups every 2 weeks. And I really hope that God provides you with fresh revelation and encouragement during this time. Thank you so much for participating. I love you, family.